Hey there, guys. I feel the need for a brand new Flick Live show. Hey there, guys. How are you doing? And real quick, before we dive into your questions, check out the cool jacket, the aviator glasses. I'm feeling like Tom Cruise today. You guys can call me Flick Cruise if you want to. By the way, quick shout out to New York Jackets. I will put the link down below. This is actually a replica jacket from the upcoming Top Gun Maverick movie, which hopefully it does come out when it's scheduled to. It's only been delayed for the last 25 years. But either way, I love this jacket. It feels good. It fits just right. This is a size large. It comes with all the little patches and emblems on it. Just look at this thing. Let me look at that. The only thing I'm missing is a fighter jet, and I would be Tom Cruise today. But I don't know why I'm wearing this today. I probably should have done this a little bit closer to the release of Top Gun Maverick. They did send me a Batman leather jacket as well, but I'll probably savor that flavor when I'm feeling a little bit vigilante-esque late at night and I prowl the Walmart streets looking for scum to beat up to revenge the death of my parents. But either way, guys, let's just stop being weird. But by the way, the link to this jacket is down below to New York Jacket, so thanks to them for sending it, and I love it. I've been wearing it every day now, and I will wear it for the rest of my life because I genuinely, like, you can leave, like, the drive jacket, you can't really leave the house in that. It's a little bit much. I love wearing it around the house. It's silky and smooth. But this, like, you can leave the house in this. Like, it's like, okay, I can, no one's going to beat me up if I wear this out in public. Maybe they should. But either way, I love it. All right, guys, and thanks so much for joining me for another live show. And let's just dive into the good stuff here. I can't actually see with the glasses on, so I will take these off. All right. Let's. What was the first question we had here? Oh, Taylor Goodwin says the hype is real for the Batman. Yes, Taylor, it is, man. We're only 9 days away. Nine days, I think. It doesn't seem like it should be here already, but somehow it is. It's bizarre. It's like time completely lapsed in my brain for the last 2 years, and now the movie's happening. I'm just like, okay, I need this. This is what I need to get back into true cinema. The last 18 movies I've seen, I'm just like, I don't want to watch those again. I'm never going to watch those again, and I'm angry at myself for watching them. But with all that said, speaking of bad movies, but yes, I am excited for the Batman. But speaking of bad movies, if you guys haven't already, if you want to, please do, though. Go check out my Uncharted review. It's live now over in the Flickpick channel, where I talk about that movie for 10 minutes. And I also do one of the most erotic sponsorship segments I've ever done in my entire life. So go check that out if you want to join me for a shower together. It's exactly how it sounds. It really is. The next one also comes from Taylor, and he says, can you do your impression of Philip Seymour Hoffman in Mission Impossible 3? Kind of sounded like Buffalo Bill a little bit. You know, thinking about it, Philip Seymour Hoffman sort of does sound like Buffalo Bill, doesn't he? But I'll do it just for you.
I'm going to hurt her. I'm going to hurt her real bad. It puts the lotion in the basket. It does this surrogacy.
Yeah, it kind of does sound like Buffalo Bill, but is there really a difference? The next one comes from Rich Gallagher, and Rich says, you watch Peacemaker. I loved it. Soundtrack was fire. I did like the 80s soundtrack to it. Generally speaking, I watched, I'll keep it real with you. I watched like the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. I wasn't in love with it. I didn't really have the urge to binge watch the show. I do know how it ended. I did watch the ending of the series, and it was fun and like a lot of fan service, and it was like a nice little throw to. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it was really cool. It was like a funny ending to Peacemaker. I think if I had watched all of the series, I would have been like, oh, that was entertaining. But yeah, it just, I don't know. The Peacemaker is one of those shows where it just felt like some of the episodes were just hard to get through. I was like, okay, this feels like a lot of filler for 40 minutes, and then 10 minutes of story happened. I don't know. You would think I would like Peacemaker more than I do. But for some reason, I'm not in love with it. But I can understand how people do enjoy it. The next one comes from Pascal Twos, and Pascal says, don't you think it's funny that movie fans always say the year after a film? I mean, do you know another The Rock from 1996? Yeah, I get what you're saying. You always feel it's like the obligatory, you have to say the year of the film, but sometimes that saves on so much confusion and hassle, especially when I do that on YouTube, because you could say like The Rock and someone who doesn't know anything pre 2002 are just going to assume you're talking about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson or something, and then they'll get confused. So it helps really make your point without having confusion, I would say. Maybe that's why. Like, for example, like the new Scream movie. You have Scream and Scream 1996, Scream 2022. You sort of have to say the years every once in a while. Daniel Jones says, I ask this once per stream, what's on the menu for dinner tonight unless you've already eaten? Then what did you eat? You know, I love that question. That's an easy question to answer typically. Well, today I ate a old Penn Station sub from yesterday. It didn't really hit the spot, though, I'll be honest with you. So tonight, I have no clue. I have no clue what I'm eating tonight. No clue, but I know what I'm drinking right now, I'll tell you that. And that's this delicious caffeinated beverage right here. It's Ghost. So good. The citrus flavor is probably not the best, but I typically get the Sour Patch Kid flavor of Ghost. I actually do find that quite tasty. All right, the next one comes from Claudia Rogajon. I saw Uncharted, just why? Looked like cosplay. Yeah, Uncharted looked like a 17-year-old kid cosplaying as Nathan Drake for 2 hours, and somehow someone gave him a budget of $120 million. I don't, and the thing is, here's the thing. If the movie had been like really interesting to watch, and like I cared about what they were doing and some of the events and situations they were putting themselves into, where I felt like there was real danger, and even if it was Tom Holland just giving his Peter Parker performance, but they call him Nathan Drake, if I could have latched onto his character the same way you can latch onto the character of like Peter Parker and go on this fun adventure, fine. I don't care. That would have been fine by me. At least it would have been more entertaining. But it couldn't quite do any of those things. And there's something weird with Sony going on. Like, every time Sony makes a movie, typically speaking, when it comes to like big action comic book type movies or video game movies, they always have like this very surface level, sterile, no substance vibe. And even the way they look always looks like they were shot from 2007. Like, if you told me Uncharted was made in 2007, if I didn't know who Tom Holland was or whatever, I would be like, oh yeah, that looks like a 2007 movie. Maybe that's just me, but that's always the vibe I get from Sony. Like, even looking at the new Morbius movie, like with the trailers, it just looks like something that should have come out in 2005. It just looks that way. So I don't know what it is with Sony. I don't know if it's maybe the producers over there who are like saying, oh, let's make everything look like it came out in the early 2000s. I can't quite put my finger on it, but that's I hope I answered your question somehow, some way there. James Dozier says, "Hey John, what's up? How's it going?" Hey, it's going well, man. It's going well. I can't complain. I'm wearing a Top Gun jacket, feeling good. How's it going with you guys? What are you guys doing? I'm going to make a review for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix version. I watched the movie 2 days ago, and the more I think about the movie, the more I hate it. Like, the more I'm thinking about it, like, the more I just hate the movie. And it goes back to my point I've said many times. It's one of those movies that they just spoon feed people on Netflix. Here, do you like mediocre junk? Eat it. So good. Now we're number 3 on trending because we put this movie in front of you. Here, eat some more. You want a little bird box to wash it down? So good. But don't ask what I was doing to you guys right there, but I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm probably going to review Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'll probably have that out tomorrow. But yeah, that's how I'm doing. Ethy says, "Hey John, huge fan from the UK. Do you have a football team? Mine's Newcastle United." Well, I think you mean soccer team because I'm a dumb American and I call soccer. Wait, what'd you call it? You called it football, which is what it should be called, but I call it soccer. Yeah. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't watch soccer. My little brother plays soccer, but I don't do anything with soccer. So I couldn't even name you a soccer team, to be honest with you. I couldn't even name a soccer team. I really couldn't. So no, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I do not. I did see Invictus, though. Was that a movie about rugby or soccer? See, I don't even remember. I just remember Morgan Freeman was in it. The Freak Table says, you said the Zemeckis could direct a good-looking Jurassic Park movie. How would he direct a porno? Angles, actors, lighting, location, give me the details. Well, I'm telling you right now, some guy would pull up in a DeLorean. Really, he almost did direct a porno. It catered to a very specific demographic of a niche. But if you go back to the Future, it's a mom who wants to sleep with her son. So that right there in itself could be its own entity. Just take that a little bit further, and boom, you got what you need right there. You want more ideas? Just come to me. All right. Thank you for the question. Michael Parton says, will you dress up as Batman in the next live chat? I do not own a cape and cowl any longer. I gave up my vigilante fighting days a long time ago. But I probably will in the next live show wear a leather Batman jacket. They did send me, the same jacket company who sent me this, sent me a Batman leather jacket. It's too small. Like, it'll fit, but I can't actually move my arms. So I'm trying to get a new one, a larger size. So anyway, yeah, on the next one, I'll at least wear my Batman jacket, but I don't have a cape and cowl. I really need to get one though, don't I? Josh Coffey says, new Texas Chainsaw Massacre was solid, man. Leatherface. I wouldn't call it solid. I think when I was looking at Leatherface on the screen, I could be entertained by the film. Everything outside of that, I was like, please stop. I hate everything they're doing. The premise alone, it was one of the worst premise they could have ever developed to put Leatherface in the mix of. Like, out of all the things you could do, why does it have to be a group of fucking influencers who come to a small town to buy said small town to turn into small hipster businesses like coffee shops or whatever bullshit they were going to put there? But keep in mind, this small town's in the middle of nowhere. No one lives there. It has a town of 8 people. So I don't know what their business strategy was, because why would you buy a deserted small town in the middle of nowhere? Like, who's going to drive 6 hours to get there? But either way, I hated the plot of the movie. I did like the way Leatherface looked, even though at this point he's 78 years old, but he's nimble as can be. He's essentially Jason Bourne with a chainsaw. And now, rather than just being Leatherface, a special needs guy who comes from a fucked up family, now what is he? Well, he's the new Jason Voorhees, apparently. He's supernatural. Nothing can kill him. And that's why I need to talk about this in a dedicated review video, because I have so much more to say. But if you enjoyed it, I get it. If it was just like a random movie to watch on like Halloween, I'd be like, oh, that was a fine like little junkie slasher movie. But doesn't it just feel like such a missed opportunity? Like, when you can just do so much more with it, that's what you do. Then the atrocious subplot storyline, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen it yet, but there's like an atrocious subplot storyline that brings back an old character from the first movie, and they come back, and it's just like the most idiotic thing that's ever been put into film, which they kind of just stole the same concept from the 2018 Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. But either way, but I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Owen Movie 75 says, hey, Johnny, sorry it's been a while. Been busy painting myself blue, running down the street. No cops involved yet. Have you seen Peacemaker? Yeah, we just talked about Peacemaker. I watched the first like 3 episodes, and I was like, I didn't have the urge to continue. So it had some good ideas. I liked the character of Vigilante. I thought he was a like interesting knockoff of Deadpool. But yeah, I just, maybe one day if I get really bored, I'll watch it. By the way, don't paint yourself blue, man. Don't do that. It'll cause an infection. Max Nugenbauer says, hey, John, I saw Moonfall yesterday. I know it's been bombing, but I enjoyed it. It's a little better than 2012, though the ending was a little strange. I would disagree with that strongly. I have a review for Moonfall where I talk about everything I hate about it. And even in that video, I left out like 10 things. I hated the movie. I actually would rather watch 2012 again than Moonfall. I just found Moonfall to be boring. Like, 2012 is just like disaster porn, but Moonfall is just boring. And by the way, that reminds me, I have an unboxing that some marketing company for Moonfall sent me. And I was debating about unboxing it in the live stream right now, but maybe I'll save it for like another video. I don't know. But yeah, I hated it. Josh Myers says, "Hey John, do you like Chipotle? If so, what's your go-to order? P.S. Love you." Someone asked, didn't you ask this in the previous live stream or somebody did? I always get I get the chicken, but I always get a double wrap of Chipotle. If you double wrap your burrito at Chipotle, it won't fall apart in your hand. So get 2 tortilla shells wrapped on that bad boy so it's nice and solid. And in the way I'm holding this right now, it might look a little bit awkward, but I'm going to stand by it. But usually I hate Chipotle. I like, there's a place called Salsa Grill where I live that has far superior burritos. Fresher, better, just tastier. It's not a national chain, unfortunately. Hopefully one day it is, but I usually go to a place called Salsa Grill. Mav says, "Dude, you've been full sending Blu-rays for years. Love the channel, man. Question though, how good is the Goonies for you?" Well, I love me some Goonies. Now, it's not one of my favorite of all time childhood movies. For some odd reason, it's one of those childhood movies I didn't really discover until maybe I was like 11 years old in like the mid 90s is the first time I really sat down and watched it. I was always like more into like movies like Stand By Me. Like the Goonies is like a fun, fantastical adventure movie. But then I was like, I'd rather watch a group of kids walk down the train tracks to find a dead body. And if anything really explains who I am as a person, that right there is the best explanation I can give you. Normal kids would watch the Goonies as children, as like a coming of age film. I was watching Stand By Me. I hope, but no, I like me some Goonies. Booby traps. All right, the next one comes from James Doshier. "I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife this past week, and overall, I really enjoyed it. I like it more than Ghostbusters 2, but not as much as the original. I would say I still probably just enjoy Ghostbusters 2 more than Afterlife. I don't think it's better by any means, but it's just so weird at times, and plus the original cast of Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, I just don't feel like, even if they're in a bad movie, I still find them highly watchable. And plus, the Vigo the Carpathian as the villain in Ghostbusters 2 truly terrifies me and still terrifies me to this day. He's basically the Buffalo Bill of the Dark Ages, and I will always stand by that. I much prefer the original cast rather than like children being Ghostbusters. But I did like Afterlife. It made my top 10 of the year. But then again, that's in a year where it was like a stretch to find 10 movies to put in a top 10. Claudia Rogan says, "I love how you were laughing during your shower ad." Thank you for that. Yeah, that was just an outtake I found when I was recording it, and I just was like, oh, that's funny, I'll put that there. I actually shot way more for that ad that I did not include in it. It was very American Psycho-esque at one point, but I was like, we're just getting too carried away here. But thank you for that. I do appreciate that, man. I had a lot of fun making that. And that's the thing when it comes to sponsorships, whenever a sponsorship opportunity presents itself and they're like, hey, you can do whatever you want, have fun. I'm like, see, that's awesome. That's what it should be like. That's how these people should work. But thanks for that. Alejandro Ortiz says, "Just want to say, glad that you've been posting movie reviews consistently again. Sometimes you forgot or not. Do I see the extra effort? Keep it up." Well, thanks for that. Yeah, I've been trying. I posted 3 new videos over on the Flickpick channel this week. And then I think this is like the 3rd video we've done on this channel this week. I put up an Uncharted first reaction a few days ago when I saw the movie. Yeah, I'm trying. I really am trying to stay as consistent as I possibly can. It gets a little bit tough some days. There's been a few days where I skipped sleep. I was like, I got to post a video. Who cares about sleep? That's for the weak and the innocent. But I'm trying, so thank you for that. It's much appreciated. Night King 01 says, "The Rundown was better than an Uncharted movie." Yeah, true. I agree. Actually, I cut out a segment in my Uncharted review where I talk about how Sean William Scott sort of was almost like the unaccredited inspiration behind Nathan Drake. If you really think about his character in The Rundown, it's like almost identical to what Nathan Drake is, sort of, kind of. And then we got the first Uncharted game 3 years after The Rundown. But I do agree, The Rundown is a better treasure hunt movie than Uncharted, which isn't that weird to say? Like, this just goes to show you, man. I don't. Maybe they were just relying too much on the IP of Uncharted and hoping for the best, and sort of relying on the fandom behind Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Maybe that's what the studio was hoping to do. Now, last time I checked, it wasn't doing terrible at the box office. But then again, what else is there to really watch at the box office currently? So, I don't. Right now, I'm just, give me the Batman. Give me what I need. Carter Lovejoy says, and by the way, thanks for the super chat, Carter, and to all of you guys. Always so generous. Thank you, guys. Hopes for The Last of Us HBO show. I'm hoping it's a better adaptation of a Naughty Dog game than the Uncharted movie. Yeah, I agree. Just hope it's not completely a shot-by-shot remake of the game. I do agree and hope so too. Now, I think we can put some faith into it because it will be on HBO, and typically 95% of the time, HBO will give you a good quality series. And I never played the Last of Us games. I know a lot about them. I know like the storylines in general, but I love a post-apocalyptic show. And give me Pedro Pascal taking care of a young child again that's not named Grogu. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. Because it's on HBO and not produced by Sony, I think we can put a little more faith into it. So I think it'll be good. I'm still waiting for that Zombies Ate My Neighbors TV show. Airstrike says, hey, John, here's $5 to tell us about your week in detail. Well, thank you for that, Airstrike. And thank you for the super chat. What is today? Today is Sunday, my week. Well, yesterday, we'll start from now and go backwards. How's that for you? It'll be like a Christopher Nolan film. Yesterday, I went to the gym. I did a leg workout for the first time in probably 2 years. It felt really good. I liked it. I loved it. The day before that, I saw Uncharted and did a review. Stayed up all night making that. And then the rest of the week just sort of turned into a blur. I put out some videos. I didn't do anything special. That's it, man. That's really it. But next week, I will have I do want to put out the Texas Chainsaw Massacre review, and I do have a new Flick Trip coming, where I sell some Blu-ray movies I no longer need. It'll be a fun video, so look out for those. But yeah, I feel like the weeks right now in life are just like fuzzy, like they just blur by. It's weird. It's something weird's happening. Maybe I'm going insane. I couldn't tell you. Luis Javier Rubio, how's it going, Luis? Thanks for the super chat, man. Always so generous. Big thanks, man. I always tell you this, Luis. One day, if I could only give you a digital hug, but if I could give you more than that, I would. So thank you, Luis. Pretend I'm patting you on the back right now. Shh, it's okay. All right, let's dive into it. Johnny Funkman, how would you describe pacing in a movie? And you give a good and bad examples of pacing in any way. Well, pacing is pretty much just the story. It's how does the story progress? Does the movie keep up the momentum? Does it come to a standstill in the middle of the movie to where, like, okay, we were like on a sprint, now we're all worked up and ready, and then we just come to a dead stop, and it's like the movie ran out of story to tell, so now we're just doing nothing for 25 minutes until the story picks back up again. That's an example of pacing. An example of pacing from a movie? Let me think of one here. And if you guys have an example of a movie that has really bad pacing, let me know down below. I'll give you a few examples of movies with really, really good pacing before I give you a bad one. I would just say, like a movie, I watched Forrest Gump again for the 997th time the other night. Forrest Gump is a great example of like perfect pacing. The movie has so much to say, so much to do, so many places to go, but it also has emotion, it has drama, and it tells a great story to where it never feels rushed. You feel like you get that complete story and you don't miss anything, but the movie's so perfectly paced that you're 75% through the movie and you're like, whoa, how did we even get here right now? It just, you forget all concept of time when you watch a great paced film like Forrest Gump, for example. If you want a darker film than Forrest Gump, I would go something like Silence of the Lambs. I think it's perfectly paced. It's just, there's no fat on the bone. It's just like everything you need, and there you go. You don't feel like you missed anything. Something with Jurassic Park will always be with it with Sam Neill. But by the way, yeah, Jurassic Park would be a perfectly paced film in my opinion. House of Gucci was very slow. Yes, so something like that could go very slow. I would even say, I'll give you a movie that I like that I don't think is paced very well, and that would be The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese. Made my top 10 of the year. Really enjoyed the movie, but holy shit, not paced very well. Now is it? There's just so much dead time in that movie. There's just so much in that film where, and don't get me wrong, there's sometimes I don't mind if not a lot's happening, but make the things like on the screen interesting to look at. Like if you go to a Tarantino film, there's extended sequences in those films where it's just two guys talking, driving down the street in a car. They're not continuing the story by any means, but I give a shit about what they're saying and doing. Now, if you didn't care about what they were saying or doing, well, that kind of kills the pacing of the movie. So it's like a really fine line. Yeah, someone said Tarantino is the king of pacing. He really is. Like, he knows how to fill the voids with just nothingness, but yet highly entertaining nothingness. All right, the next one comes from, and I hope I answered your question. Thank you for that, though, once again. A-Train98 says, hey, John, have you seen Harold and Kumar movies? I watched the first one. I think I might have watched the second one, but man, those are just like junky, sloppy, forgettable, disposable movies to me. And I guess even as a kid, I never loved movies like movies like Scary Movie. Like, I get the appeal, but for me, I just felt like those were so disposable. Like, I will watch this when I'm drunk or intoxicated, but to really sit down and just like watch it, I've just always had trouble bringing myself to do that for certain types of movies like that. Michael Parton says Uncharted was okay, but TCM was a dumpster fire juice. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was the third time they made a direct sequel. They can't be a true successor to 1974. Yeah, my thing is with the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and by the way, once again, I have so much to say for that review, but my thing is, it should not have been set in modern day. Like, that was a terrible idea. No need to do that. And something about modern day movies, especially horror films, they're not scary to me. I don't know why. It just, maybe it's like everyone has a phone. For some reason that alleviates any danger to me. I think what the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre should have done was be set in like the early 1990s, maybe the late 80s, whatever you want to do. Leatherface still would have been like younger and agile, but a little bit over the hill. And then you could have had like that early 1990s vibe and look to it, which would have been so much more like immersive to me. Just like what they did with that new movie. Like, there was moments in it, I was like, I just don't even want to look at this right now. I was like, please, Leatherface, just kill everyone. Just brutally murder them with your chainsaw. Decapitate her. Pluck his eyeballs out. I want all these people to die. And you shouldn't really do that when you watch a horror film. Michael Parton says, Uncharted was okay. Oh, sorry, I answered that already. Alto Volati. You know I can't read alto. You look like Scott Eastwood. I'll take it. I'll take a little Scott Eastwood. Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thank you for that. I'll take a Scott Eastwood comparison any day of the week. Thanks for that, man. I think when I get old, hopefully I do. My hope is when I get older, I age into Clint Eastwood. I just want to be a bitter old man screaming at people to get off my lawn. Yeah. Potato Buns. How's it going, Potato Buns? Thanks for the question. Very generous of you. Hey, Johnny boy. I can't believe I wasted my time watching the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Though the 2000 remakes aren't perfect, they are now a masterpiece compared to the new one. Why, God, why? No, I stand by this. The 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, the remake, I think that's a phenomenal movie. I think that is one of the best remakes, maybe of all time. It's in the top 20. We'll give it that. Fair enough. That is a great horror film. It's well made, well paced. The characters are interesting. That version of Leatherface was menacing. He's not supernaturally overpowered. He feels like some just evil dude living in a basement cutting people's faces off with a chainsaw. And Jessica Biel in that movie, oh gosh, that was like my crush for like at least a decade based on that movie. And the supporting cast in that film, that movie was just like they got everything right. And even the way it looks is like, it's a well-made looking movie. And it got you like immersed into that situation that everyone was there. Like, you felt like you were stuck in this like environment with everyone. Oh, my. I loved it. Loved it. Like, I wish the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre was even half as good as the 2003 film. Ethan004 says, "Hey John, loving the videos, man." Well, thanks, Ethan. Thank you. I'm loving making them, man. It's always fun. I have a question for you guys. I want your answer. I want you guys to be completely honest with me, a little bit blunt and honest. That's all I ask from you guys. Nico Lord says, Leatherface is sucky in DBD. I'm sort of gaming fever at the moment. Gaming fever? Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I have a question for you guys. I've been making a lot of my videos right here in this chair. Now, I wanted to make videos in that chair over there, and I did my top 10 best and worst of the year sitting in that chair that has my background and my backdrop in it, and it might look a little more like YouTube-esque. But for some odd reason, I like making videos in this chair. I don't know. I feel like the microphone's closer to me. It makes me feel safe. And I just like setting upright in this chair. It feels better. It feels easier to make videos. Like it's more fluid to me. Now, let me ask you this. Would you prefer me to make videos in this chair right here? Or did you guys like the way it looks when I sit in that chair with that backdrop over there? With all my movies that accreditate me as a movie nerd on YouTube. Let me know which one is better. Which one do you prefer? Aesthetically? Let me know. Okay. Summer Dummies 10 through 5. What's up, Maverick? What's the best movie you've seen high? Oh, man. I like to watch professional wrestling, typically in that situation. But I will say, recently I watched Forrest Gump again, and with that occurrence happening, and watching Forrest Gump, I was like, here's what I had. I get crazy, right? I start noticing all the details, and I feel like my OCD kicks in even more when I'm under the influence of something. I won't say what that is for the sake of YouTube monetization, but I will say this. When I was watching Forrest Gump, it's sort of like the most glamorized version of all these different people that could ever exist. Like, imagine like what Forrest Gump would really look like. A guy like Forrest Gump would really look like, right? Imagine what a version of Ginny in reality would really look like. Like, she'd be all like skinny and gross, like sores all over her arms, like all addicted to drugs. Like, that's the real version of what these people would look like. Then I was picturing, what if Forrest Gump was actually like an A24 film, and it was like a hard R, and rather than being this glamorized version of all these people in Forrest Gump, people were exactly how they should be, and all these situations were actually way more grittier and gross than they actually were. Like, imagine like the real version of Lieutenant Dan. Like, he was the most like clean version of like a homeless guy who's a drunk I've ever seen. But imagine if he was like all like completely grungy and dirty, and like they really showcase that. That's what I was thinking. Did I answer your question? I think I did. If I didn't, I'm sorry, but what was the question? Yeah, movies when you're high. So yes, many of times. Okay, we got a few answers to my question here. Mr. Jukebox says, I like videos in the chair. I feel like you are a podcaster when you're in the chair. I like the chair, John, with that sexy mic. Thank you for that. The chair, try the new chair. John, grab the mic and tap it right now. The microphone was granted when it was handed to me. Thank you for that. Yeah, I do like the I like the microphone here. I do. I don't know. Maybe I'll save like Blu-ray videos for that chair, and maybe like normal. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know. All right, let's keep going here. James Doshier says, I would rather play Uncharted than watch a 2-hour movie of it. I'm not surprised that it's gotten the reception it's been given. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather just play the video game than watch the video game. And if you're I just don't understand how Hollywood can't make a good video game movie. It's not fucking hard. Just do what the game does. It's not hard. Just do it. Why do they always feel this urge to like go a different direction? The fan base that wants to see the movie based on the game don't want to see your original bullshit ideas, Hollywood. They're all bland, generic. You have what you have in Hollywood right now. I'm going to go on a quick rant right here, but hear me out just for 1 second. And at the very end of this, I'm going to scream up at the moon. But what you have right now in Hollywood is a whole bunch of producers. And what producers do for the sake of their job title to feel like they have to earn a paycheck is they have to just spit out ideas. Good or bad, that's what producers do. That's how they justify being in existence. And what happens in Hollywood is, sometimes it's not about being the most talented, it's about who you know. So sometimes these producers, keep in mind, these are people that probably have no creativity ever. They've never done a creative thing in their life. But they're just there in a suit and tie to say, you know what this movie needs? Maybe we should take Peter Parker and he goes on a treasure hunt. Okay, now let's just make it look like a 2007 movie. Okay, how about we add a digital explosion over here? Because Transformers had a digital explosion once and people liked that movie and it made some money, so maybe we should do it in this movie. And that's what producers do in Hollywood. That's why most movies nowadays are just generic shit bombs that no one cares to talk about because they come from the imaginations of not creative people, but just people just put in positions they shouldn't be in. So that's what I blame it on. And I've met some of these people. These people just have no imagination. Like you could tell them the best idea and you're like, this is what they want to see. Like it'll be awesome. And they're like, I don't know about that. How about we just do something that's already been done, but no one actually liked. Let's try that. I'm just going off on a rant today. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Okay, Potato Buns says, good to know that an elderly human being can still survive after getting their insides torn up with a chainsaw. The movie was just hilarious at times. Yeah, it was. Like, I'm sorry, if you stuck a chainsaw through my abdomen, I am going to die. And maybe even if I do not die, I sure as fuck will not have the ability to set up with a shotgun and shoot you. I just will not have that ability. I'm telling you right now. Whenever I'm slightly ill, I can't even get out of the fetal position in bed. You think I'm going to go shoot someone with a shotgun? This is nonsense. Just stupid. Default says, what year was the last great year for movies? 2014. Easy. Nightcrawler, Whiplash. 2015 had some good stuff, but for me, like 2014 was like right before everything got weird. Owen Movie 75 has become a member. Thanks, Owen. Yay! Mark S, thanks for the super chat. No question though. But thanks either way, man. Make sure you click the super chat, not the super sticker. Click the super chat, because then you can put a message in there. Daniel Jones says, typo, I meant how long. Daniel, I don't remember what we were talking about. But I'm pretty sure I answered your question, right? But either way, thanks, man. Oh, hi, Mark says, I'm surprised that people on the bus didn't try to cancel Leatherface, laugh out loud. Way too much CGI and superhuman strength. Bring suspense back to horror. Absolutely, completely agree with you, man. Just no suspense. It's just like, okay, now I'm going to gut people. Okay, here's blood. You guys like blood, right? Here's more of it. Like, okay, it's meaningless after a while. It just becomes numbing. Yeah, but by the way, and part of me was like, when he was like, oh, you're going to be canceled, bro. And then he just decapitates him with a chainsaw. I'm like, yes, please. You have no power here. With all your power, nothing to do with it. The next one comes from Daniel Jones. How long do you plan on staying in Indiana? I'm from Indiana. Once I moved back, I like Indiana quite a bit compared to most places. It has everything I need. It's easy. It's affordable. It really is like, I like where I live. I really do. I really can't complain. And I've been many of other places, and I don't have a lot of traffic where I live. What do I need? I need Best Buys, Walmarts, movie theaters, and burrito places. I'm a simple guy with simple tastes. Give me a little bit of gasoline and some ammunition, and I'll show you who these people really are when the cards are down. Let's see. Probably a long time I'll stay in Indiana. Kung Fu Hot Dog. Hey, Johnny Flick, how many meals do you eat in a day? Probably like 1 or 2. Typically like 2. I eat like breakfast and I eat dinner. And I might have maybe a snack for lunch. Maybe 2, yeah. That's just how I function. I function better. And in between all those meals, I just drink iced coffee. That's what keeps me going. Michael Serta says, Did you like Book of Boba Fett? I wanted to love it, but I feel like the whole purpose of it was to get Din and Grogu back together, and for me, it makes the emotional impact of Mando Season 2 mean nothing now. See, the only thing I really enjoyed about Book of Boba Fett was the fact that the Mandalorian returned, really, because it felt like they didn't really have much for Boba Fett to do. Like, he just didn't really have anything to do. And it was like they were forcing everything he did do, so it didn't feel... I guess that's just not what... Did anyone want to see Boba Fett be a crime lord of a small town? Like, is that the story we wanted to see? I guess I didn't. I just wanted to see him go off on some kind of journey and be a bounty hunter. Maybe he gets vengeance for those who wronged him, or maybe he wants to redeem himself in some regard and make up for some of the wrong things he did throughout his life. You know, and it's about retribution and redemption, and he goes on some other journey somewhere into the galaxy because he, you know, that would have been more fun. That's an adventure. I didn't want to see him sit around on Jabba the Hutt's throne. Like, you could throw 1,000 concepts at me, and I just don't feel like that would be one I would want to see. But that's what we got. So yeah, I was disappointed highly with it. But I did like the few episodes with The Mandalorian. Okay, the next one comes from Owen Movie 75. The Peacemaker intro is so weird, I love it. Oh, that's a beautiful intro. I love the choreography. I like how John Cena can't dance, and he looks so bulky and bulbousy, but he's like moving like this. It's great. Ryman 6000 says, John, why are we here? What is the meaning of life? I ask myself that many, many of times. In the grand scheme of it, what's going to happen is the Earth's going to get too close to the sun. We're just going to ignite and implode and blow up, and everything that's ever happened and existed in reality, or at least our sense of reality, will no longer exist. It'll cease to exist. Maybe by that point, we can create some kind of space station on another planet, maybe Mars, that'll be safe because it's just far enough away. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. You know what my motto is? Do what you want today and worry about the consequences tomorrow. So yeah, don't ask me what the meaning of life is. Don't ask a guy like me what the meaning of life is. Josh Coffey says, podcast recording tonight. If not, I might add some more questions, brosive. Yeah, ask some more questions, Josh. We haven't recorded the podcast. We were going to try to do it 2 days ago, and time just did not work out. We'll probably record it very soon, though. So you have probably another day to submit questions for the Patreon and YouTube members exclusive podcasts. So ask away, man. Michael Barton says, the scariest movie I saw as a child was the original It, a miniseries when I was 5. My brother had a VHS tape of it, and I couldn't sleep in my bed. Yeah, you know, I remember watching the original It TV miniseries with Tim Curry. And part 1 is definitely the scarier part when they're children. When they become adults, I was kind of taken out of it a little bit. But I love the sequence when they're children. And they're riding on the bicycle through like the park, and they feel like it is chasing them. For some odd reason, that sequence always stuck out with me. But yeah, a lot of creepy, eerie moments from that TV series, or the made-for-TV movie, I should say. But yeah, it was terrifying. It was scarier than the new version of it, but the second part of that was not good. But neither was the second part of the new It Chapter 2, though. Adam Gannon says, seen Angel Heart, thoughts on Mickey Rourke? I have not seen Angel Heart. I like Mickey Rourke. I think he can act. Is the way he just has not aged well, has he? But yeah, I like Mickey Rourke. I think the pinnacle of Mickey Rourke was his performance in The Wrestler, which I really love. I think that's my favorite film from him. Also, I really enjoyed Mickey Rourke as the character Marv in Sin City. I loved his narration in that noir film narration. It was almost like Batman-esque in a way. He's like, get up, old, or he's like, then I put on my mitts, you know, and then it shows like a picture of hockey gloves. Like, I loved him in Sin City as Marv. Kenneth Sager says, getting so close to the release of the Batman. Yes, man. If it could not come at a better time to cleanse the terrible movies out of my brain. Just we're like over a week away. Just John, hold on for one more week. Get through life and get to the Batman. Your body needs this. Get there now. Yes. I'm looking forward to it, man. Rex says, any popular movies that you haven't seen? If so, which ones? I'm trying to think of like a popular movie I haven't seen. There's probably some Alfred Hitchcock movies I haven't seen, like classic movies, like 1950s movies. Like I don't think I've ever sat down and watched Lawrence of Arabia. The Ten Commandments, I don't think I've ever sat down and watched all of it. There's many of those I have not seen. I'm trying to think of like other films. I've never sat down and watched all of The Thin Red Line. That's one movie. I'm trying to think of like some other big classic films that I haven't seen. I've never sat down and watched all of the Twilight movies. I can honestly say that. And I'd like to keep it that way. Claudia Rojan says, I love how the actors said Uncharted is a globe-trotting adventure, but they go to two places in the movie and one's a generic island, laugh out loud. Yeah, the other place they go is an underground tunnel passageway that looks like it was built in someone's garage, and next to that underground passageway is a techno bar. Out of all the places they can go, out of all the historical places you could go in a movie, like you could go to the Roman Colosseum, you could go to the Great Wall of China, you could go wherever. You just go to like these two boring places. That's a good point. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Schwarz18 says, hey John, talk Jaws a bit. Cheers, man. What do you want me to say about Jaws? I mean, it's a good monster movie of the sea. It's really good. I mean, it terrified me from getting in swimming pools even as a kid. Sometimes if you're in a big enough swimming pool and you think about Jaws, it's kind of scary, man. Now, when it comes to Jaws 2, I remember there was actually the original concept for Jaws 2, if I remember correctly, was they wanted to make the Cape Cod, the small town where Jaws takes place in, be like an abandoned post-apocalyptic town, because Jaws, pretty much the concept of that, terrified everyone ever going back to the beach. So the town basically shut down, and it was going to be sort of like, that was going to be like the background of the movie, but I don't think they followed through with it. I don't know. I hope that's enough Jaws talk for you. But yeah, I love it, man. It looks great on 4K. Freddie Hernandez says, any advice on fixing Black Crush on an OLED TV? And Freddie, by the way, we are 17 minutes behind on the question, so I'm going to get to all of your questions. If you ask a question, we're getting there, I assure you, so don't go anywhere. So Black Crush, if you don't know what that is, I would say what the issue is, there's probably something with your contrast or your HDR settings. So I would go look at your HDR settings or your contrast and make sure everything's aligned where it should be. Also, it could be, what's another setting it could be in the, maybe it's just the black levels in your TV. There's something going on. Now, when you're getting that issue, are you watching a 4K movie and it actually says HDR, like HDR pops up on the screen? Yeah, it's got to be something with your settings. I don't know, just tweak things, man. Change like the level of like gamma. Like there's a gamma lighting level in the OLED panel settings, and maybe adjust that so like the black levels are like lower or mid tier, so it's not like overly saturated with black levels. That could be your issue. Really, honestly, the other thing is sometimes HDR, they throw out the term HDR all the time like it's some amazing concept. And the basic science behind HDR is good, but the majority of the times what's actually happening is they're just upping the contrast of what you're seeing on the picture. That's honestly what's happening. And I think sometimes HDR looks bad in my opinion. So I try to keep like, if there's a setting for HDR, I try to limit it lower. At least that's what I've noticed. And a lot of panels will lie and say they have HDR, but really they don't. They're just trying their best to make the contrast better. And what it's doing is just making everything crushed, like the black crush issues you're having, where everything just looks like there's no shadow detail. So hopefully I gave you some advice there. Look into those things. Schwartz says, I really want to go to Indiana with my dad one day. Why? Out of all the places you want to go, Indiana's a fine place. I wouldn't put it on like your go-to place of any means, but it's a fine place to live every day. I wouldn't like dedicate your life's journey to getting here though. Daniel Jones says, how's the love life going? Good. Can't complain, man. Thanks for the question. If you wear a Top Gun Maverick jacket, your love life will always be good. That's probably not true, but try it. Jesus Salcido. I think I said that right. I'm going to call you Jesus. It's probably pronounced Jesus, but I'm going to say Jesus. Do you like J. Cole? Who's J. Cole, man? I don't know who J. Cole is. Can someone let me know? I don't know who that is. Let me know who J. Cole is, please. Okay, the next one comes from... It's going to come from somebody. Oh, Claudia Rojan says, I love how the post-credits of Uncharted sets up the plot for the first game. So what Drake hangs out of a plane twice in his life, laugh aloud, what the F writers. Yeah, it did set up the continuation going forward. Like, I guess you could say this was the origin story of Nathan Drake, but at this point, I don't care what he does or what adventures he goes on. I just, like, the hype is dead. But yeah, it's like, why didn't you just do that with this movie? That would have been maybe the clever thing to do, but no. Joseph Noel says, what movie gives you a headache to watch? Some of the newer Saw movies give me a headache, I would say, like the way they're shot. Like the first few movies did it right, but then the other movies after that get so like bombastic and no, you know what? I got a better answer. Some of the newer Michael Bay movies genuinely give me a headache. They're so contrasty and vivid and shaky for the sake of just being shaky. Like they're nauseating to look at. So I would say probably some of the newer Michael Bay movies. Hayden Cash says, John, I heard you like Costco. I work there and you should try the chocolate-covered mangoes. They are my new favorite movie snack. I think you said that to me before, man. I will try those chocolate-covered mangoes. They are on the to-do list. I do like me some Costco. Great warranties. If you ever have to buy like an electronic item or a piece of furniture, go to Costco. My recommendation to you. That's where I will be buying my next OLED TV. Someone says, Dylan says, Tenet was way too loud in the theater. Yeah, it was too loud. It was almost so loud that it was hard to look at the movie. You're right, yeah. I remember that being my theater experience as well. It was so loud, but yet you couldn't hear anything. Hayden Cash says, John, sorry, I already answered that. Daryl Harmsey says, do you like Blacklist? Thoughts on Tinder Swindler? I haven't watched Tinder Swindler, and Daryl Harmsey has been a member for 12 months. Yay! I've seen some episodes of Blacklist. I enjoyed them, sort of, kind of, for the most part, but I'm not a hardcore binge watcher of the series. Damien Woodbeast has become a member. Yay! Thanks, Damien. Zane says, hey, Johnny Lawrence, thank you for that. If you could choose one celebrity to get their ear bitten off by Mike Tyson, who would you choose? That's a good question. Brie Larson. Maybe? I don't know. Who else? Oh, what's her? Kristen Stewart. That'd be a good one, too. Thank you for the question. That was interesting. Zaki Said So says, I thought the 2019 was a good year. Had movies like Parasite, Jojo Rabbit, Knives Out, The Lighthouse, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, etc. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I would say like 2019 was sort of what 2014 was. It was like they put all the great movies in one year. And then for like the year before that and the year after that, it's just like nothing. That's a good point. I could agree with that. Potato Bun says, John seems like if he'd go crazy, he would tie me up, make me dry scoop creatine, and make me smell bike tires until I overdose, but who's complaining? Yeah, if you want to go, that's the way to go, man. Absolutely. And if you think Leatherface is scary with a chainsaw, just give me one on a bad day. By the way, speaking of chainsaws, man, I want to watch American Psycho again. Now that's how you do a chainsaw sequence. El Torito Ricku? John, it rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. In the style of Adam Sandler's The Water Boy. He called the shit poop. It rubs the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again. Chlorophyll, more like borophyll. I can't do a good Adam Sandler impression. The funnier version of that would have been doing that in the Owen Wilson voice. Oh gosh. Andrew Charb says, "Hey John, I love your content, man." Well, thanks, Andrew. I love the chair in the background. Thank you. It's back there. I don't set in it often, but it is back there. Favorite Michael Mann film other than Heat? Mine is Collateral, but The Insider is underrated. I'm probably going to go with Collateral as well. I wish more movies were made like that. It feels like a guerrilla style filmmaking. It's just like perfect, simple, and they got like an A-list star to be in the movie. And plus, I've always loved nighttime movies that just take place over the course of one night. It just something about that vibe and that tone just feels so immersive to me, and I wish more movies were made like that. But yeah, I'd go with Collateral. Brian Vandenberg says, "Hey John, I love Tom Holland, but he is not Nathan Drake." Oh, I agree. He's not. They didn't even try to make him Nathan Drake. He just was Peter Parker. I agree. Yes. Thanks for the question, man. But yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Andrew Dabb says, "Hey John, have you watched your? Hey John, I've watched your content. John, can you read? No, you cannot. John, I've watched your content since 2014, where you inspired me to make movies. Well, good for you, man. I made films during school with my friends until I graduated in 2020. Just finished Twin Peaks and wondering whether you've seen it and are you a fan of David Lynch? I'm not the biggest David Lynch fan, and I've never sat down and watched all of Twin Peaks. I've watched parts of episodes just to see like what's going on here. I just never got into it. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. I know it has a strong cult following, but I've never gotten into it and I've never watched it, man. Kingaling has become a member. Thanks, Kingaling. Yay. Rex says, "What are some movies everyone needs to see?" Just go watch my top 25 movies of all time video from over a decade ago. I'd say that's a good place to start. And one day I do need to make a new version of that because the list has changed quite a bit. I'd say like 25% of the list has changed, but I'd say those are a few. Start with Tarantino. Watch all the Tarantino movies. That's a good place to start. F43A97, no question, but thanks for the super chat, man. Kevin Michael Joy says, "Hey John, what in your opinion is the worst era of cinema? For me, it's the early 2000s. Of course, there's some classics like Pixar, killer, but it's filled with mediocrity at its best." Yeah, I would say the early 2000s, in my opinion, like after 2001 to like 2010, there was a lot of mediocrity along the way. Now, along the way, there were some good movies. Like we had some Nolan movies come out. We had the Batman movies and stuff, but really, there was something about the early 2000s of filmmaking and the style where they were sort of figuring out what was going to work. And what happened was they started making over-stylized movies that sort of looked like music videos. And they had like this really contrasty, weird, flashy, kind of like low frame rate, like cutscene stuff going on. So yeah, I would agree. Like think about some of the comic book movies in the early 2000s. Like we had movies like fucking Daredevil, man. Like think about that. Yeah. So yeah, I would agree with that statement. Harry Bailey has become a member. Yay, thanks Harry. Hayden Cash says, "Sorry about earlier. I thought you missed my question anyways. What's a good snack for me to watch Silence of the Lambs with? It's my first viewing." Well, when you watch Silence of the Lambs and you want something to eat, what I would recommend you do is you eat something with a lot of meat. Like you want to eat a bologna sandwich as you watch Silence of the Lambs. Especially when you watch the scene with Buffalo Bill dancing in his basement. That's my recommendation. It'll make you vomit, but it'll help the experience. No, don't do any of that. Eat some popcorn. Nothing meaty. You don't want any like meat food. No, thank you. All right, the next one comes from Justin Martin says, "Hey John, recently rewatched the prequels while under a certain plant influence, and my God, they are the Godfather compared to the Disney sequels." Oddly enough, I'm not going to completely agree, but I will not disagree. I sort of still enjoy Phantom Menace. I can find enjoyment in that movie. It's not good, but I find enjoyment. And at least it was shot on film, right? Because then you have you have Attack of the Clones, and then you have the Revenge of the Sith, and they were so digital. But Phantom Menace actually looks like a film. But I can understand the enjoyment there. Yeah, I'd much rather watch those than Return of the Jedi or Rise of Skywalker bullshit. Joseph Knoll says, Tenet gave me a headache in IMAX. I thought Matt Reeves movies like Cloverfield and let me in. Detective movies to watch before Batman. I'm so pumped. Oh, thoughts on Matt Reeves movies? Matt Reeves movies like Cloverfield and Let Me In. I saw Let Me In once. I thought it was an okay remake. Cloverfield I watched one time. I'm not a big fan of found footage movies, no matter if they're considered great. I find them to be like a one-watch experience for me. Detective movies, I would say if you're going into the Batman, just my speculation, but it looks very reminiscent of movies like Seven and Zodiac. So go watch a whole bunch of David Fincher movies. It would be my recommendation to you, man. El Torito says, it's pronounced Rike. Good try, John. El Rike. Oh, El Torito Rike? Okay, thank you for that. El Torito Rike. Got it, man. Thank you. I would have never guessed that. I got an F in Spanish class, okay? You think I can read anything? F43A97 says, hey, John, I watched Jackass 4 premiere and want to know what the point of having the girl in the film was. I don't know what the point of having her was in the movie. I don't know who she was, why she showed up. They just needed a female version, somebody in the movie, I guess. And also, like, they had like another guy show up in the movie who was, you didn't know who he was, to basically replace Bam Margera. Yeah, that's why I didn't love Jackass 4. I just didn't. I was mildly entertained, but it wasn't my favorite by any means. Like, I liked the original cast members. That's what I liked. I related to them. And when you remove some of them and replace them with people I don't know, then I don't care. Adam Clace says, hey, John, glad you stick to your guns on film quality. I'm finding some YouTube reviewers like Johns and Stuckman pull punches in regards to woke content. Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't know what it is. I guess they're happy where they are and very content, and it's working. They're getting the views, so why change up anything and have a harsh opinion? Why do it? I get it from a certain standpoint. I will say this is one term I've heard from someone before. Say what you want, but say it in the most positive way ever. And that, I guess that works for some people. I just can't do it. I don't know why. I just can't smile through my teeth and pretend like I like something I don't. But yeah, it does seem like some people are more forgiving nowadays than ever before, right? Joseph Knoll says, favorite/least favorite house jobs. I hate folding laundry. I will have a pile of clothes set in my dryer for 6 years before I fold them. I can't do it. Can't stand it. And I just can't do it. I don't know why. Folding laundry is the bane of my existence. All right, guys. How long was this? About an hour? Okay, I had about an hour to do this, so we've been talking for an hour. I might answer like one or two questions. I'm going to wrap up this live show, and I do thank you guys all for joining me. I love talking to you guys, hanging out, answering some questions. It's always a good time. But yeah, I'll answer just a few more questions that pop up, and I'm having an issue with the lag over here on the normal chat, so sorry if I haven't been keeping up as good as I can, but every time I see a Batman ad, my body reacts. You and me both. I can't tell you exactly how I react, but it is in a positive way. Spider-Man 3 in 2007 was great. Thoughts, John? Spider-Man 3 in 2007 was a clusterfuck of madness. It was just, that right there is exactly what I was talking about earlier in this live stream, where producers just have to have input for the sake of having input to justify their jobs in Hollywood. And 2007 Spider-Man is a clear-cut example of that. It's just like, throw that in there. Throw that in there. People like that. But what about the story? Fuck it. That's what producers in Hollywood do. DJ Crackmix says, I love you. Well, I love you too, DJ Crackmix. Yeah. All right, guys. By the way, guys, we will be doing the members only live stream. So if you guys are a member of the Ask Me Anything perk or higher for Patreon or YouTube, we will be doing a members only live stream Thursday. I will announce the time, so keep a lookout on the community tab or on the Patreon feed. And I will probably do a live stream that day, and then afterwards we'll do the members only live stream. So it should be this Thursday around like 9 o'clock at night. That is the plan. So look out for that. As always, guys, thank you guys, some of you members here. We got Chris here. Random question, but have you ever considered buying subscribers/followers for your social media? Absolutely not. Don't ever do that. You'll get some numbers, but numbers mean nothing if you don't have feedback and people are watching your shit. Like, it means nothing. It's just empty. Like, I will tell you this. It's sometimes on YouTube, it's not about the subscriber number that you have, but it's about the quality of viewers you get. That's what people want to see. Or at least that's what I care about. So don't do that. Now, if you wanted to buy some advertising for your channel to get like organic people into it, that makes sense. Nico Lord says, let's go Twihards. No, thank you. Jalen Martin says, advice on how to shoot a movie review. Just watch what people are doing on YouTube, man, and do that. You know, make it well lit, have good audio, have some nice lighting. Do this. Don't overthink it, though. Just keep it simple, man. But yeah, just watch some of your favorite people on YouTube. See what's working for them. Use that as some motivation and some advice. Claudia Rogan says, Stuckman is so afraid to criticize movies now because he doesn't want to piss off the wrong people. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to get into the Hollywood business. He wants to make movies, and sometimes if you step on someone's foot, they ban you for life. It just, people take shit personally. That's what happens, and I understand it. But at the same time, I get what he's doing. That's fine by him. If that's working for him, cool, man. But my thing is, you already have 8,000 movie reviews over the last 10 years you've talked about. So what does it matter if you continue doing the same thing? If someone's going to be pissed off, well, they already have been pissed off. So I don't know. That's my motto, but I do understand it. And also, I think this is just my opinion based on my experience of knowing Stuckman, is I don't think he likes to be super negative. I always felt like he wanted to shy away from negativity, even when it comes to movies. Unless it was like a funny, bad movie, then like we could be negative. But like if it was just like criticizing a movie and being super negative, I just feel like he never liked that. And for some odd reason, I have like this weird form of OCD where I can pinpoint everything wrong with a movie just by like looking at it, and it starts eating me alive, maybe more so than it should. So yeah, but hey, it's working for him, obviously. We got one here. Schwartz18 says, I want to go to Indiana because I'm a huge James Dean fan. Yeah, I like me some James Dean, but I mean, what would you see of James Dean here in Indiana? Actually, Michael Jackson's from Gary, Indiana. You can go to his childhood home in Gary, Indiana. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could go there. Okay, I'm just going to answer a few more questions, guys. Elliot Cecil says, what if the Batman gets delayed? I will have no will to live, but it's not. We're like 10 days away. It's coming, baby. I need it. Now, the biggest question is, will Top Gun Maverick get delayed again? That's the biggest question. By this way, this jacket smells like Tom Cruise. Schwartz says, I want to go to... Oh, I already answered that. Stupid. John has the right mindset. Well, thank you for that, man. Chris says, is Fort Wayne a nice place to visit? Never been. It's a nice place to live. There's not anything you really need to come see here, but it's a nice place to live that has everything you need. And the great thing is, I'm 3 hours away from Chicago, a few hours away from Columbus, a few hours away from Indianapolis. Like, any major city I want to go to, I can, but I don't have to live there. That's what I like about it. Nico Lord says, Stuckman has nothing but gotten hotter with the beard and tattoos, though. That's where I'm at with this. Whatever floats your boat, man. All right. One last question, and this is it, guys. Connor Malloy says, Dune Part 1 or Interstellar? Holy shit. I would probably find myself rewatching Interstellar if I had to pick one. I like the score more to Interstellar. I think every time they're in space, I like the visuals. I like Matthew McConaughey. I'd probably rewatch Interstellar again, just solely because of the score. And I like Dune. I liked Dune's score, but it just rewatchability, it's not that high. How excited are you for Furiosa? I'm excited. I wish it was just another Mad Max movie with old Mel Gibson coming back, but I'll take what I can get. I think we already got the Furiosa story with Mad Max Fury Road, but hey, what can you do? I like Charlize Theron, so I have hope in it. All right, guys. John, were you on TRT back in the day? No, man. Why TRT back in the... No, it wasn't that hard to get big and buff. It really wasn't when you work out for 6 years and live in the gym every day. It genuinely was not that hard to do. So no, but would I ever get on TRT if I get older? Yes, absolutely I would. That's why men age, is because their testosterone levels get so low and depleted. That's why you lose muscle and you gain body fat. So after the age of like 45... that's like what you should do as a man, or at least that's my plan one day. It keeps you healthy and agile. Just look at Stallone, man. He's 70-something years old. Sure, he looks like a plump baked potato, but he looks so strong, too. All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys for the questions. Thank you guys for joining me for another live stream. Always much appreciated. And like I said, if you haven't seen my review of Uncharted over in the Flickpick channel, it has one of the best ad segments I've ever made. But nevertheless, if you could watch that video, give it a like. Much appreciated. Because I don't feel like the algorithm is showcasing my videos on the Flickpick channel as much as they once were. Or at least I'm pretty sure it's a fact. But either way, if you could go watch that video, I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you guys this week with another live show and a few other new videos. Probably a Texas Chainsaw Massacre review coming tomorrow. And I'll wrap it up here, guys. As always, stay safe. Have a good night. Thank you for the questions. And take care. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.